Hey class, we are on part 3 of Reselling 101 Poshmark edition. So we've talked about how profitable Poshmark can be. We got our first listings up and now we're going to start fine tuning. I'm going to teach you how to get the most out of your items. Stay tuned.
Queen Resale, let me set the scene. We hustle hard, stacking green, living out the dream. From clothes and kicks, we got that vintage flair. You name it, we got it. All the styles you wanna wear. Started small, now we.
Friends, it's Stephanie from Three Queens Resale. And if you are new here, welcome. I am a full-time reseller and I created a series, Reselling 101, and this is the Poshmark edition. So this is part 3, and in this video, we're going to talk about comps. Comps are short for comparable solds. Oftentimes, when you're looking at an item to see if you want to take it home, you look at what is listed. Well, what is listed is not important because it's available for sale right now. What you want to see is what has sold and how much it has sold for, and if you can figure it out, how long it took to sell. It's important to look up comps so that you can get the most money for your item and not leave a dime on the table when you are reselling. So I'm going to go through some ways I look up comps for Poshmark. If you're enjoying this series and find the information that I'm providing at all helpful, please consider subscribing, hit that like button, and leave me a comment down below of what you would like for me to go over next. And if you stay to the very end, I am going to show you a trick on how I find comps that I just discovered a couple of weeks ago. Also, if you're just listening and watching me right now, I am going to link a cheat sheet or a checklist in the chat down below so that you can use that to go through the steps to look up comps without watching the video again, although I would love it if you did watch the video again. But just a little sheet to print out and keep next to your desk so that when you're listing and looking up comps, you have a reference tool. So we're going to use these Michael Kors leather mules to look up comps in all 3 of our examples today. So the first way I'm going to do that, I'm going to do it using my iPhone and I'll screen share it with you, but we are going to look these up on Poshmark. So we're going to start off in the Google machine. So just find Google on your phone and then go to the Google Lens icon and put it on the item and take a click. It's going to bring up images of the item and you're looking for one that has the complete style name. So bingo, I'm on the Michael Kors website and I find the exact shoe that I'm looking for. So I know that it is the leather studded slide. And so I'm just going to highlight that. And then I'm going to go over to Poshmark and I am going to get out of my closet and I'm going to search, click the search button at the bottom, and then just copy and paste that into the search engine and search. Now, we got to use these filters up at the top to narrow down our search and I'll be honest, I don't really use this method anymore. I'm just showing you because I think searching comps on Poshmark is not the best way to do it, but you should know how to do it. So I'm adding in all of the filters and getting it down to like putting in the color, like I want black items. And even though I typed in the exact name, it's still bringing me other things. Mine are, I want all condition. Um, I want all types, closet and boutique. I'm going back because I want to filter down to just shoes. And so it says flats and loafers and mules and clogs. I decided just to leave it at shoes because sometimes people are listing things and they don't know what they're listing. So I figured shoes would cover anything. And then I'm filling in the other specifics. I filled in everything except for size just because I wanted to see what was available. And so I'm looking for shoes that are exactly like mine. I don't spend a lot of time on this. I've seen like 3 or 4 pair that are already listed. And so with that knowledge, I'm just going to go ahead and flip to solds, so that I can see which is under availability. So here we are, the ones that are sold. So you can see that they are anywhere from $8, $13, $40. And you'd have to like deep dive into what the difference is. Um, but there is just such a wide spectrum of prices on Poshmark, and you can't really tell. Poshmark does not break it down to just the past 90 days. So some of these might have sold 10 years ago. We don't know. And so that's why I don't think this is the best way. But if you want to stay on. So one of the drawbacks to looking up comps on Poshmark is, like I said, there's just no frame of reference for how long, um, and what time frame those items sold. And so, or the order in which they sold. Like, was it at one point selling for $75 and now all you can get is 13 for them? Or did they sell for $75 yesterday and 13 like 6 months ago? There's just no frame of reference. And so you're kind of like just taking your best guess. And most people aim high. I'm going to show you how I look up comps on eBay. And I feel like it gives a little bit more of a judgment, or help it, it narrows it down a little bit more to something more reasonable. So I actually like to use eBay to look up comps for everything. Now I do list on eBay, but this is Poshmark 101, so you might wonder why we're listing on eBay or checking comps on eBay. So you're going to copy and paste the name of the item in that search engine, and as you can see, it already gives out like fewer listings. It's a little cleaner, a little bit easier to look at. I always push the condition, because new with tags is going to impact. And then I go through and look at other things like color and just try to compare apples to apples. I'm going to pick the size, and then it shows me that there are 11 listings of Michael Kors size 8 flat shoes, but I can see as I scroll through, there are only actually two of the exact same pair of shoe. One is listed at 25 and one is listed at 36.99. So I'm just double checking to make sure I haven't missed any, but I'm pretty sure there's only two listed that are identical to the ones that I am listing. So that kind of gives me a price range so that I'm competitive against what is already listed. Now I'm going to filter to sold to see what has sold, what the solds have gone for. Now there are no exact matches. There is a pair of loafers that are very similar that have sold for 20. Um, but this is an item that is just now coming into season, so that will greatly impact the comps and my decision on how I list it. It's important to remember that if you are listing things out of season or at the start of the season, the comps are going to be greatly different as than if you were in that season. For example, winter coats, the comps in the summer are not going to look as good as that is for that North Face puffer jacket when it's 20 below outside. So seasonality does play a part into how you price. So now I've showed you Poshmark, how I look up comps, and then how I look up comps on eBay. I actually use Terapeak on eBay, but I think that is only available if you have a store subscription. So I don't want to share that with you at this time because that would just you probably don't have a store subscription, so it's not available to you. Now I am going to show you how, if you want to see comps across multiple platforms at the same time. So remember when we at the beginning used Google Lens to search the item? Well, same concept. You're going to use Google Lens again, and then when you go to Google Lens and you type in the name of the product, so I've typed in the name of the product up there and I'm going to click search. So it brings up images of the product and an AI description, but it shows all of the places on the internet where the item is currently listed and for how much, well, where it is and how much it's listed. And I know this is backwards on my screen. Um, for you guys. I don't know if there's a way I can flip it, but it just gives you an idea of how other people currently have the product listed. And I don't really use this a lot, but sometimes when you see how it's listed, because this is a listing, and remember, people can list things for whatever they want, but what are they going to sell for? And also, like I said, this is an item that is more of a right now moving into fall item. So when I see $39, $35, someone has a pair for 100. Actually, they're listed for 120 on eBay, brand new. Um, all over. And keep in mind, you have to remember that these could be listed like in the UK or wherever. But if you just kind of want to get an idea of like across platforms, I like to just Google Lens it and look. Now, so what are you going to list it for? I am very much a list it and kind of not mess with it if I don't have to anymore. I don't like to keep lowering and raising the prices. And when you list something, it's very easy just to list it. And then if it doesn't get any attention, lower the price or send out offers. So don't worry about listing way too high. I wouldn't list way outside of anybody else. You want to be competitive, but if 36 is too high, the market will dictate that. Not only is seasonality a factor when comping an item, but also the availability of an item. If there are 4,500 pairs of size 10 loft Marissa pants, you are not going to want to price yours on the high end because there's so many, the market is saturated. First of all, you probably want to not pick that item up, but if you do have it, like it's already in your closet, like you're selling things that are already in your closet that you have, you want to price middle of the road to lower end to give yours a more competitive edge. The opposite is true if your item is unique or rare. For example, Lululemon plus size leggings, like size 14, 16s, are going to sell much quicker and for more money than a size 0 or 2. There's just not as many on the market and the demand is higher. Therefore, you can get a higher price higher because the item is, like I said, more valuable. How long it takes an item to sell versus how many are listed is called sell through. Since the focus of Reselling 101 Poshmark edition is for you to get started on Poshmark selling items in your closet, I don't want you to focus on sell through. We'll focus on sell through when you start sourcing items from places like consignment stores and paying for items to resell. But as long as you are paying or not paying for the items and they are just items that you are finding around your house, it really doesn't matter what the sell through rate of the item is because you can sit on it forever. You've already had it, you've already gotten your use out of it, and as long as you have a place to store it, um, it's okay. Don't worry about how long it might sit. And since it's an item that you've already got, you can price it as competitively as you need to or take offers to move it out the door. So, as promised, I'm going to show you a bonus tip that I use using ChatGPT. Now, I have the paid for ChatGPT version because I use it across all of our businesses, but and as like a personal assistant, but anybody can use this with the free AI ChatGPT. And if you're not using AI to help support you in your reselling business, well, you're probably not because you're just getting started. You're on the ground floor of it right now. So what you're going to do is copy the name of the item. So the Michael Kors Natasha studded leather slide. I've got it copied, and then I'm just going to open up my Chat GPT app right here and ask it what is the best price to list, and then I'm going to paste the name on Poshmark for quick quick sell within 90 days. And I just picked 90 days just because that's what I consider like a good REI. So then it gives a little synopsis. So this is a lot of reading, but once you do it a few times, you know what to skim over. I didn't put the size, but it gives like a little price breakdown for um, the different, like if it's in excellent condition, um, or fair condition. And so it says set price based on condition. If your pair is gently used, pricing 25 to 35 range would be a solid middle ground. Price near 20 for quickest turnaround. And for near perfect condition or rare colors, you should start closer to 50 or 70, but be prepared to lower if there is limited interest. So basically, um, I said I was going to price it like 35, 36, and that is what it's saying that I should price it at. And so I just used Chat GPT to kind of summarize, like get some information. I think this works best if you have the exact product name. Now, also something I use Chat GPT for sometimes is if I want to create a listing, and then I would just type create listing for Poshmark. And I do this on my computer version so I can just copy it and paste it for the, and I'm going to paste the product back in again. Michael Kors Natasha studded leather slide, and I'm going to add in the color black, size 8, so that it will include those in my listing. Then put search, and then Chat GPT creates a title and description for my product. Okay, it will even give you hashtags um, for it, and then you could copy and paste this right into Poshmark. It is much more detailed than the AI version on Poshmark that is currently available when you do the Smart List AI. I think Poshmark will eventually get to this level of detail, but right now this is super easy if you just want to play around with it. So that's all I have today for this session of Reseller 101 Poshmark edition. Let me know down in the comments what questions you have, what you found helpful, and what you'd like to learn about next. Be sure to subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and if you made it all the way to the end, let me know in the comments what you just listed. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.
Three queens, Resale, let me set the scene. We hustle hard, second green, living out the dream. From clothes and kicks, we got